Hi guys, sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I was having a hard time trying to figure out how to create the Facebook Live video. I didn't know how it was working. I'm like, how do I do it? So it took me a minute to figure it out. Now I know for future reference. Yay, yay, Facebook Live. So, hey Marilyn, welcome aboard. So we're going to talk today, and I should turn my light on so I can actually read because it got really dark outside. We're going to talk about the energetic block that prevents positive change. And so, while we're talking here, if you have an experience of things that have gotten in the way of change for you, or changes that you haven't been able to make, or whatever, feel free to drop those into the comment box, and I'll try and address things as we go. But I'm going to get started on the content that I've got for you right now because I've promised half an hour. So if you saw my post earlier today, you probably noticed that I said that as I was growing up, my mother was really searching for a solution for herself. She had a lot of issues and a lot of things that were going on, and she went to Est and she studied Seth and Ram Dass and Abraham Hicks and Tony Robbins and God knows who else, because there were so many people that she studied over the years, and she brought it all home to me, and so I was studying it all with her. And we spent most of my childhood really going through all of these different things. And no matter what she did, it just didn't click for her. And I think I've spent most of my life trying to figure out why. And, searching for solutions because, a lot of her issues became my issues because that's how parenting works. And so I spent a lot of time looking for that too. And I've spent basically my entire life studying this stuff and looking for the answer. And so the piece that was the critical factor, what I discovered is that there are actually two primary critical factor pieces that determine whether or not someone actually makes real change in their life. Not just sort of discipline type change where you're like, you're convinced yourself to do it and you're going to work at it to do it and you're going to make it work and da 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 da. Not just that type of change, but also just the core level, identity level changes. The changes that change how you feel on the inside, right? And that's what I'm talking about as I'm talking about this, is what causes you to feel differently about yourself, feel differently about your life, to reduce your stress levels, to improve your way of being, to change your beliefs, to all of these things, right? All the monkey mind and the brain that just sort of go, you suck, you're not good enough, nobody loves you, right? All these things. And so there are two primary things that get in the way of that. And the first one is what I refer to as the leaky container. Okay, and when I'm talking about a leaky container, I'm talking about an energetic container. Let's start with that. And I'm not talking about your aura. Okay, your aura is your energetic field, and it is the energy that emanates from you, that is sort of like your energetic clothing, right? That's your aura. I am not talking about your aura. What I'm talking about is your personal power container. It is the space that you hold for yourself. When you sit with someone else and you really truly listen to them, and you're just allowing them to be in your presence, right? That you're not trying to change them, you're not trying to fix them, you're just holding space for them, you're just being with them, right? That's an energetic container that you're creating around you and the other person. That's space you hold for other people. The container I'm referring to is the space that you hold for yourself. And if you're like a lot of the people that I work with, then you probably don't have a lot of space that you hold for yourself. You tend to show up on the bottom of your own priority list, and you tend to put everybody ahead of you, and the stuff you do for you comes last, if at all. And so that's the container that I'm talking about, is the ability to hold your own space, to take up space in the room that you're in, to be able to set boundaries and enforce them, right? It's a container in which you sit sacred in the world, right? When you have a leaky container, then the power that you have in your life seeps out. And so a leaky container can be a function of having a belief, being codependent, right? And thinking other people are more important than you are, right? Being in that position where, you have to do for others in order to feel like you're valuable for yourself. Being in a position where you don't set boundaries for yourself. And if you try to set them, you don't reinforce them when people go bounding over them. That sort of thing, right? When you have those sorts of behaviors in your life, what happens is that you have rents or breaks or holes in the container that is your personal power. Okay, so the next thing that you have to realize about that is that in order to make change in your life or in anybody's life, you have to be able to hold enough energy within yourself to fuel that change, right? So as you're working on whatever process you're working on, you are going to experience the process of really trying to crystallize that discontent, right? So whatever it is that's going on in your life, right, there will be a moment where you go, enough, I'm done with this, I'm not doing this anymore, I don't care what it takes, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it because this is no longer acceptable. That is a moment of crystallization of your discontent, right? Now, if you have a solid enough energetic container, a solid enough personal power field, then when you go to make that change, you will have the energy built up to fuel you through the process, right? Because the energy of the change that you make has to exceed the energy of the pain that the change will create in your life, right? Because any change we make is going to create a certain amount of pain. I just moved to Virginia, and there's a huge amount of pain in moving because now I don't know where anything is. I have to find all new doctors and hairdresser and dentist and right? Everything is new. There's a huge pain to making the change of moving to Virginia. But my energy of desire for the change has to exceed the energy of the pain that that change will create, or else I will stop midstream, right? So when that happens and your container is leaky, when your resolve is not solid and you leak energy, when your ability to hold space for yourself is not solid and you leak energy. So like when I was moving, my students were all coming and going, oh no, you can't leave me, you're abandoning me, we're gonna miss you, don't leave. And if my container had not been solid enough, I'd been like, oh, well, maybe I can't do that. Maybe I shouldn't go. And leak. If my husband had said, oh, I'm a Taurus and you're upsetting my life by packing everything and I don't do well with that. Leak, right? All of these ways are ways in which we leak energy to leak the power out of our resolve to make a change, right? When your container is leaky, you can't make a change because every little hole, every rent, every rip or tear in that field results in energy leakage, and therefore there's no power to pull it through, no power to bring it forward, right? And so this becomes a problem for making change because you just don't have the energy to make it happen. All right, now the next piece that you have to keep in mind that is the big thing why people don't make change is the looking for the magic pill, okay? Now, when you are looking for a magic pill, when you're looking for a solution to your problem on the outside, if you feel like you're not powerful enough, so you go looking for power outside of you, borrow and bring in, or you try to manipulate other people to be powerful for you, right? Or you are looking for a solution that is, I want to feel magically better, and if I buy this one crystal, then I will feel better, right? And you're looking for something outside of you that will be the magic pill to solve what's going on inside of you. I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't work. It's a complete waste of time, and it will fritter your energy faster than anything else. There is no magic pill. I'm going to say it again. There is no magic pill. I don't care if somebody says that I can sell you this hot, great new thing that will suddenly make all your problems go away. It won't, okay? Your problems were not created by something outside of you, and therefore they will not be solved by something outside of you, okay? Yes, your problems may have come as a result of things that happened to you. You may have had problems in your childhood. In fact, almost everybody in my in my programs and the people I work with have had childhood issues. We've all had challenging experiences that created coping mechanisms and belief structures that sort of wrapped us up in them. But it wasn't the thing that happened to you that caused that. It was the belief structure and the coping mechanism that you put in place in response to it that created the structure that is now making you miserable, okay? I want to be really clear about the difference between those things, because when you are trying to address the issues, so long as you are pointing your finger outside of yourself and blaming somebody else, you're not going to be able to solve your problem, right? Because yes, the behavior that they exhibited resulted in you creating these inner structures, but it is not going to fix them, okay? You created the structure, therefore you have to go inside of yourself to fix it, right? Or to dismantle it. And to be clear, these structures got you through your childhood. They were functional within your dysfunctional environment. So it's not like you were wrong to create them. It's just that now that you're out of the dysfunctional environment, you need to dismantle the structures, or else you will recreate the dysfunctional environment to allow for your structures, right? And so when you go looking for answers, you have to stop looking for the magic pill. And I will tell you, those two things are the reasons why my mother could never make it over the hump. She kept looking for the magic pill, and she leaked energy like no tomorrow. She leaked her personal power in very many ways, in almost every instance, except for the very few times that she had to stand up in defense of me, in which case, holy crap, that woman was a force of power. It was just like, oh my God, you did not want to catch my mother in those moments. She was a force to be reckoned with. But it was rare. Those moments were minute in the course of her entire life. And so I went looking for these solutions for her for years to try and come up with this to help her, because up until the day of her death in 2010, she was still struggling with it. And, you know, it hurt me to see her pain. And so I was trying to solve that. And I didn't get it done in time for her, which was very sad. But I'd like you to get the benefit of that. So, you know, this is what I've spent all this time working on, is creating these understandings. Now, so we have to have a solid personal power container, right? And we have to give up on the idea of a magic pill, because there is no magic pill that will solve all our woes, right? So we've got those two things. Okay, great. So, well, you know, if my container's leaky, how do I fix it? Well, that's a question. I'll talk about that at the end. But the magic pill is just a decision. It's a really easy one. It's just a decision. So once you've got those two things in place, then you can make change. But here's my warning. If you try to make change before those two things are in place, and you fail to make the change, every single time you try to hurdle to get over the resistance to getting to your goal, and you fail, what happens is that the wall between you and the resistance gets built one layer higher. It's like it's a brick wall and another layer of bricks goes in every time you fail, because you're building the belief structure that you can't do it every time you fail. So this is fair warning to you that you want to really pay attention to these things, because this is how people get stuck in a sense of learned helplessness. They get stuck in this sense that there's nothing they can do about it, and they give up hope. And it is one of the hardest things in the world to come back from that sense of learned helplessness. It takes so much more effort to come back from a place where you've given up hope than it does to just be fighting and you know, beating your head against the wall and beating your head against the wall and getting discouraged but not giving up. The moment you give up, the amount of effort it takes to recover yourself is quantum leaps harder than if you don't. So with that said, I want to make sure that you know that you want to really be solid on these two ideas, this solid container and the giving up the magic pill, before you go to try to make some major change, because I don't want to see you building that wall over and over and over again, right? Because that will be that really just trains you that change isn't possible. And you don't want that, because change is totally possible. When you have a solid container and you see that you are the solution to all of your problems, and think about how powerful that statement is. I am the solution to all of my problems. I don't have to go outside of myself. I don't have to get the right crystal or the right healing session or the right this or the right that. I just have to get me. When I get me and I am clear and I've removed all of my coping mechanisms and limiting beliefs and assumptions that I've made about life that are invalid, then I can be my own solution. How powerful is that statement, right? So when you get that, then there's no change you can't make, right? Change is a process. It requires a certain series of events to happen. But the very first event that has to happen is the awareness that you need to change, and then the crystallization of your discontent such that you can build up that charge of energy inside of you and the solid container to hold it until you make the transition, right? If you can't do those three things, if you don't know you need to change, you're never going to change. If you don't crystallize your discontent and be like, I'm done with this. If you just sort of like, oh yeah, that kind of sucks. Yeah, I wish it didn't happen. You're not going to change that because you don't really care enough to change it. You know, change is hard, and why bother, right? Now, when you get clear that change has to happen, then you crystallize that discontent and you power your change engine, right? That powers your change engine. But your change engine is going to leak all that energy if you don't have a solid container. Now, that solid container, I promised you I'd talk about it. That solid container is a little harder to get than you think, okay? And if you're, you know, a strong woman or a nice guy and you've come out of an environment where your childhood was less than lovely, and you've spent your childhood with, you know, somebody standing on your face, and you start to see the world from sort of this angle, right, with your face on the ground, and at some point in time you get a skateboard and you shove it under your face and you decide, okay, well, you know, I need to get around, so I'm going to put my face on the skateboard and then I'm going to crawl around on my hands and knees. And then if there's a crack in the sidewalk coming up, you're like, oh my God, there's a crack in the sidewalk. What am I going to do? And you're freaking out, and everybody who's walking upright is like, what is your problem? It's just a crack in the sidewalk, right? And you're just like, oh, good God, what is your problem with the crack in the sidewalk? And it's like, yeah, what's the crack in the sidewalk? Because you know those wheels on the front truck are going to hit, and your face is going to skid across that non-skid surface, and you're going to get all scratched up. And when the back wheels hit, the same thing's going to happen again, and you're flipping out, and they're just like, what? And they just step over it, and it's no big deal. Okay, this is what's causing the leaks in your container, is this perspective from the skateboard. All right, everyone else is standing upright. That's how their containers are more solid than yours. when you can learn how to stand upright, when you can shift your perspective from that ground floor on the skateboard level, then you will not have the leaks in your container that prevent the forward movement. Okay? So in terms of solidifying those leaks that are in your container and changing that perspective, is it hard? It's not hard, but it is complex, because there's a tapestry of coping mechanisms that you have put in place in your belief structures that are so interwoven that they can be really challenging to unwind. And in fact, a lot of my people go to therapy and it doesn't work, or they go for a while and it works for a little bit and then they stop and whatever. But what you have to do is you can't pull on a single thread because they snag on each other. Right? They don't come loose. So if you take a class here or a class there, or read a book here or a book there or whatever, they don't come undone, right? You don't get very far. What you have to do is actually unravel the whole thing at once. It's the only way I have discovered to do it, and I've been looking for 40 years for this process. So the only way I figured out how to do it effectively and quickly is to unravel the whole thing at once, which requires some effort, right? But if this is you and you're looking for a way to do it, you know, give me a call. I'm going to post my link for my, nope, that ain't it. I'm going to post the link for a call with me. It's a free call. You can hop on. And that link is right there. It's the bit.ly link, bit.ly/Kelle, capital K-E, lowercase E-L-L-E, uppercase B-C for breakthrough call. You know, just sign up for a breakthrough call and I can walk you through it, because it's a little different for everybody and there's a little different process as we go through. So I don't want to go into the details here, but if that's something that is something that you're dealing with, by all means, give me a shout. Anybody have any questions about anything? Oh, I see a comment. I didn't see it. Oh, wait, maybe that's me. That's me. I'm learning how to do these Facebook Lives. I'm the comment. Does anybody have any questions about anything I've talked about? I just want to make sure that I've talked about everything that you guys wanted. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about? Marilyn, Ryan, Karen, Jennifer? I don't see Susan or Valerie, but you guys liked it, so I don't know if you're on or not, but anybody have any questions for me? Cricket? Cricket? Okay. So I'm going to call that good then, and I will be back in. I'm going to be doing these calls. I'm going to try and do them like 3 times a week with different topics each time, so keep your eyes open. I will post little previews so that you'll know when I'm doing it, but I'm always going to be doing it. I think I'm going to shoot for Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll see how it flies, but and I'm going to shoot for around the 3 o'clock hour, depending upon how the rest of my schedule is running for the week. Yeah, give me a shout. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for coming out. You guys are awesome. Bye.